So I'm up here on the site called locally Gomorrah, and this is the site that the archaeologists associated with Gomorrah. So here you can see that ashy layer that's just underneath the surface. This is full of burned pottery. It's full of the fragments of human bones. The question is what evidence is there of this burning sulfur that rained down? Well, it seems that the culprit are these sulfur balls that are also found in this area.
We have a lot of skeptics and atheists. They have argued over the years how the Bible is not reliable. It is not historical. Well, in this video, we'll see how this narrative surrounding the Bible is not accurate. In the book of Genesis, the 19th chapter, we see the Bible speak of two cities named Sodom and Gomorrah. God destroyed these two cities for their wickedness and their homosexuality. Let's watch.
So I'm standing now at the largest of these early bronze sites on the southeast side of the Dead Sea. This one locally is known as Babedra and is the site that is associated with Sodom in the Bible. It was discovered as an early bronze site back in 1924. It was excavated in the 1960s and 1970s. And what archaeologists found here was this burn destruction that goes across this site. This city came to an end through a fire destruction. So here you can see this ashy burn destruction layer just underneath the surface. It's full of human bone fragments, burned pottery, and it's covering the entire site. So off in the distance here you can see Babedra, identified as Sodom, and then right here to the southwest is this massive cemetery that you can see with all these pits that mark its boundaries, and these are formed because of the locals for decades have been coming and digging into these graves looking for antiquities to sell in the antiquity market. And so it's estimated from the archaeologists that dug here back in the 60s and the 70s that there are around 500,000 people buried in this cemetery. And it's just staggering. And what's really intriguing then is that they found a burn destruction across the cemetery that happened at the same time that the city was destroyed. So the city and the cemetery were destroyed in the same fire disaster. And there's no reason why an army would attack a bunch of graves and burn a cemetery. And so this was one of the major reasons that they interpreted the destruction here as being caused by a natural disaster. In the excavation report, they show pictures of the bones in the graves that were warped by the heat. And I'm driving about 8 miles to the south to another excavated site identified as the biblical city of Gomorrah. So I'm up here on the site called locally Gomorrah, and this tower behind me was excavated, and 2 skeletons were found underneath the collapse of the tower on this side and one on the other side. There was burn destruction all through here, as you see in the picture from the excavation. However, it does seem like the collapse was able to preserve those skeletons better than most of the human remains here. You can see there's ash right here, and human remains, bones, are all through this ash. As you can see, there's this destruction layer is filled with human bone remains. Here's some ribs found in this area, burned pottery, a total burn destruction. The excavators here, the main excavator here is Walter Rast, who excavated also at Babedra, and he describes what they found in the excavations here at Gomorrah. He writes, "The burnt debris covering this site has appeared in almost every area excavated. Whatever the cause, it was certainly a tragedy. Obviously, the town suffered a severe fire and was forever abandoned. Now, despite Walter Rast being a secular archaeologist, his conclusion about what he found in the excavations at Babadra and here in Numera were these. He says this: in the author's opinion, the vicissitudes of these two early Bronze III cities of Babadra and Numera may well be reflected in the stories of Sodom and Gomorrah in the Bible. Okay, so Babadra was destroyed by fire at the same time that its cemetery was destroyed by fire. The city was never rebuilt. This city, associated with Gomorrah, has a burn destruction over it. The city came to a dramatic end with the fire destruction at the same time that Babadra was destroyed by fire. And this city was never, ever, ever lived in again. What is it that burned these cities and the cemetery at Babadra? The Bible describes it as burning sulfur raining down from the sky. And is there anything that, that matches this description that's still left in the geological record in this area? Just to give you an idea of how many sulfur balls there are. So this is a sulfur ball, sulfur balls. All these are sulfur balls. Here, here. I'm gonna burn one of these sulfur balls just to show you how flammable they are. I gotta be careful because, man, when you get a whiff of these things, it's really nasty. Okay, so this is one of the reasons why sulfur balls would only be preserved in water, because if they strike the land, then they're gonna burn up. You can see the goo, it's just melting down to goo and then dripping off. So really, anywhere that they would have landed on land, they would have burned up like this, and they would have burned anything flammable around them. This is how the cities in the plain were burned. However, if they would have hit the water of the Dead Sea, that would have extinguished them, and therefore they wouldn't have burned up, and they would have sank down to the bottom of the floor of the Dead Sea and been preserved in a geological layer.
The Bible is reliable. It is historical. Whenever it says something happened, it really did happen. Now, when it comes to the resurrection of Jesus Christ, we know it happened because his disciples were willing to die for what they claim to have seen, which is the resurrected Christ. That is powerful evidence. So like this video and comment, tell me what you think, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.